We're getting in the greatest and most cleverly constructed illusion in human history. We will talk about how those ancient empires built with swords, shields, and heavy gold coins transformed into digital empires run from silent, air-conditioned server rooms by people in hooded sweatshirts. We'll explore an astonishing evolution stretching from the clashing of swords to the quiet, sterile, climate-controlled server rooms of Silicon Valley. We're mapping how power, money, and the human mind have been hacked. Was it harder to find money and control the masses in the past, or is everything today simply the product of perfectly engineered consent manufacturing? We'll reveal how the authority Julius Caesar once established through blood has now been placed directly into our pockets by today's hooded tech lords. Julius Caesar wasn't just a good commander inside his armor. He was actually one of the smartest marketers history has ever seen. Do you know why? He was the first Roman leader to mint coins bearing his own face, that famous profile silhouette, while he was still alive. Pure ego, you might say? I don't think so. This was history's first viral advertising campaign. Even a man in the farthest corner of the empire while buying a bunch of grapes at the market would see whose authority he served when he held that coin in his hand. Caesar stamped his face onto money and slipped his power into everyone's pocket. History's first profile picture was money itself. In the ancient world, building an empire and becoming wealthy literally meant fighting gravity. Gold was heavy, marble was heavy, armor was heavy. Conquering land, stationing soldiers there, and holding on to that power demanded enormous physical cost, sweat, and blood. Let me give you a striking example of how brutally and physically money was earned in those days. Julius Caesar's greatest financier was the richest man in Rome, Marcus Licinius Crassus. He was the man who founded history's first private fire brigade. But this wasn't public service. When a house in Rome caught fire, Crassus's firefighters would arrive, fold their arms, and wait. Crassus would turn to the owner of the burning property and offer to buy it for a fraction of its value. If the desperate owner accepted, the fire would be extinguished immediately. If he refused, they would calmly watch the house burn to ashes. Now keep that brute force in your mind, and let's swing the pendulum rapidly to the present, into a digital universe where weight has dropped to zero and borders have evaporated. Today's emperors, those modern technology lords, don't need to burn down your home to seize your wealth. They don't need to pile armies at your doorstep to conquer your borders, because for the first time in history, an empire is expanding not across maps, but directly within the nervous systems of billions of people. Think about the vast meta-ecosystem built by Mark Zuckerberg. Before us stands the most profitable and most absurd business model in economic history. A factory where billions of people walk in every day on their own feet and produce all the products inside with their own hands, completely for free. Your vacation photos, your political anger, the things you secretly laugh at, those extra 3 seconds you spend looking at an old friend's profile, all of them are the invisible gold coins of this new digital Rome. In ancient Rome, Caesar stamped his own silhouette onto money to prove his power. In the meta-universe, the game has reversed. Those hooded lords don't stamp their faces anywhere. In their empire, what has value is your face, your profile. We upload our photos for free, and they turn them into gold, a magnificent and equally unsettling exchange. In the past, kings sent armed tax collectors to your door. Rebellions broke out, blood was spilled. Today, as digital serfs of the modern world, we willingly pay our own tax by opening the devices in our pockets an average of 150 times a day. In economics, this is called behavioral surplus value. Crassus multiplied his fortune by setting houses on fire. Today's algorithms simply set your dopamine receptors on fire. They keep you glued to the screen by constantly offering a new notification, a fake reward, a tiny red dot. Is there any physical cost? Almost zero. And the profit? Trillions of dollars beyond imagination. So what is the ancient illusion that keeps us inside this digital coliseum and convinces us into voluntary captivity? How exactly does this perfect mechanism work that keeps billions of people within invisible borders and persuades us to accept this voluntary servitude? To find the answer, we must return to the foggy marble streets of Rome. Roman elites discovered that the secret to controlling massive populations and preventing rebellion lay not in brute force, but in the weakest point of human psychology. The Roman poet Juvenal carved this dark formula into history with two words: Panem and Circenses. If you don't want the masses questioning politics, asking where the treasury is being spent, or criticizing those in power, you don't need to offer them deep philosophies. First, distribute free grain. Let their stomachs be full. Then fill the massive stone stands of the Colosseum with them. Numb their minds with endless bloody gladiator fights, wild animal hunts, and extravagant games. A crowd whose dopamine is spiked by violence in the arena, enslaved to momentary pleasures, never lifts its head to look at the palace. The Colosseum wasn't just an architectural marvel, it was history's first systematic distraction machine, a perfect engine of consent that paralyzed thought and drowned masses in illusion. Now, blow the dust off that 2,000-year-old formula and adapt it to the device in your pocket. Today, we don't sit on the stone steps of a physical Colosseum. Maybe we're not watching gladiators bleed, but inside all of our palms are digital arenas open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As we scroll endlessly downward, we sigh over other people's perfectly filtered lives, enjoy 15-second comedy clips, or become part of online mob attacks against people we've never met. We entertain ourselves, judge, consume. This is the circus of the modern world. We are right in the middle of the arena. And what about the bread? If you ask where it is, it's hidden much more cleverly. Reaching someone on the other side of the world in seconds, watching thousands of high-resolution videos, stepping into those massive platforms, all of it is free. How democratic and generous the system seems, doesn't it? That free access is the modern grain distributed to us. But the attention economy has a cold, unforgiving rule. If a game is being played at a table and you can't figure out who's losing, then you are the one losing. In the digital world, the equivalent is even harsher. If you're not paying for the product, then you are the product being sold. So let's return to our original critical question. Was it harder to find money and hold power in the past or today? In the past, wealth was bound by gravity and physical borders. You had to feed armies, cross mountains, shed blood. Power had weight and friction. Today, however, the nature of wealth has mutated. The fortunes of those tech lords are weightless, limitless, and fully integrated into your mind. Without firing a single bullet or violating physical borders, they seep directly into your nervous system. Think again of the vast meta-universe built by Mark Zuckerberg, the most profitable and flawless business model in economic history. The world's largest content platform produces not a single piece of content itself. The world's largest media empire has not a single journalist, a giant data mine, yet they don't swing a single pickaxe. Because we are the miners. Every time we scroll, every time we pause at a specific second in a video, every time we secretly search certain words late at night, all our digital footprints are converted into microscopic data packets. A massive algorithmic profile emerges, one that knows you better than you know yourself, mapping your fears and desires. And that profile is sold in milliseconds in digital auctions behind closed doors for millions of dollars to advertisers. In the past, wealth was seized from people's labor through brute force, and people could rebel against it. Today, wealth is filtered from the attention people willingly give. Which is smarter, forcing submission at sword point or making the victim willingly fasten the digital collar around their own neck? We're approaching the end of history's greatest clash of contrasts. 2,000 years ago, when Julius Caesar raised his hand in the dusty arena, the thumbs raised in the air symbolized absolute power. A single gesture decided whether someone lived or died, the fate of the masses. Today, billions of people carry in their pockets a thumbs-up icon at the very heart of billion-dollar platforms as a like button. You think that's just an innocent design coincidence? As we scroll and press that button, we are made to believe power lies in our hands. We think we are rulers of our own little kingdoms. I choose, I like, I decide, we say, stroking our fragile egos. But this is where the real tragedy begins. Every time we press our thumb against the screen, we are not affirming our own will, we are approving the treasury of an invisible empire. In cold server rooms in Silicon Valley, billions of dollars worth of new virtual coins are being minted. We are not free citizens watching from the stands of those algorithmic arenas. We are modern gladiators, forced to fight with our own data, our own time, and our own attention. And we're even feeding the lions ourselves. And now, as a content creator, I should remind you, if you liked the video, press the like button, and if you want more content like this, follow and turn on notifications. But don't waste too much time, because that massive algorithm is already waiting to show you the next perfectly selected video.